Hi, Billy. Can you hear me?
Yes, yeah, I can.
Great, and you can see me all clear.
Yeah, nice and clear.
Perfect. Now, while I'd usually prefer to see you in person today, unfortunately, we're not able to do so because of COVID and everything that's been going on right now. So, thanks so much for agreeing to see me here today on Zoom.
No, like I understand, like with lockdown, it can be really hard, but I do really find these sessions really helpful. So I'm glad that we can still at least do it over Zoom and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, that's a great attitude to have. Now, in our first session, we spoke about how you felt about your personal worth, and we also touched on how you're finding your studies, your job, your social life, and also your relationship. Now, it seemed like you weren't too happy with how everything was going at the moment. Is that right?
Yeah, like I was definitely feeling very anxious about where I was with my life, and I just really wasn't really happy with where I am, especially when I compare myself with my friends and stuff.
Yeah, it's I see. It's pretty tough. When you have all these different thoughts going on, and especially in a time like this, um, and it's very difficult to not allow yourself to compare, your own life with, your friends' lives and the people around you.
Mm.
Um, did you have any chance to think about what we talked about um, between now and our last week's session?
Yeah, well, I definitely did try to think about what I wanted to achieve myself and like think about my own personal goals rather than comparing myself to my friends last week, which I actually did find very helpful from last week's session, which was very good. But I'd still found myself a few nights at home, like in bed just before I go to sleep, just comparing myself to my friends. And yeah, because I
Mm.
feel like they're all ahead of me. They know what they want to do with their life and their career and stuff like that, which really keeps me up at night, and also the relationship as well. Like obviously, it's been really challenging the last couple of months. So those thoughts really just make it really hard for me to get to sleep or even have a good quality sleep as well.
Yeah, and I think, you should be really happy with yourself because you've made, taken these steps forward to allow yourself to find some direction in your own life. Now, it's okay that, sometimes you might fall back into the habit of, comparing yourself with the people around you and, feeling like you're not enough because, that's all part of learning, and that's okay. You just got to keep on trying, right?
Mm.
And keep on thinking about what you want to do, right?
Mm.
And I think, eventually we'll get there. Now, I've also got some mindfulness and some breathing techniques that I'll introduce you to down the line that might help you. Is that okay?
Yeah, I think that'll be a good idea actually down the line for
Yeah,
sure.
great, great, great. And these techniques might not work for everyone, but if they don't, then that's okay, right? We'll find something else that works for you.
Mm. Sounds good to me.
Great. Now, um, what else has happened in the last week between now and our last session?
Well, obviously, because we're in lockdown, so I couldn't really do much, but I still went to work, which I'm very lucky that I can still work and stuff like that under lockdown. And I studied a lot at home, which sometimes can be a bit challenging, but I was being able to be with my family was really good. So I could break up the day from studying by going out and going on walks, especially with the nice days that we had last week, which was really helpful, especially when I'm confined to these four walls majority of the day. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's a really good thing that you're getting off your feet and you're still doing what you usually do, right? With the work and with your study and going out with your parents on the walks, right? I think that's a really good thing that you're doing here.
Yeah, well, like obviously that's all been really good as well. But also last week I did have an argument with my partner,
Mhm.
again, which wasn't that good, which I guess was the low light for me. But overall, the week itself was really good.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, all right. Well, what exactly was this fight about?
I'm not too sure if I talked about it last session, but like we've been, like, I'm really big on people not gambling, and he used to gamble but quit, and he really just went back into that activity of gambling. So at the start, I was fine with it with small bets, but then he started betting pretty much every single paycheck. So I decided to confront him about it, which was when he kind of got a bit aggressive and stuff like that. So I kind of just
Yeah.
backed away from it, and nothing really got
Hmm.
resolved either.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess that is a pretty tough situation that you're in. How exactly did you approach this conversation?
Well, every time, like especially like last week when I was planning to approach a conversation, I really like kind of plan everything in my head before I go into the conversation, thinking about what I'm gonna say to him. But then I really just said to him, like, look, I don't really like you gambling. Like, I don't get why you're going back to gambling since you already quit and you said you don't like it anymore and it's not you. But then he kind of got really defensive and aggressive, and I kind of just backed away from my whole plan, and like literally nothing went to plan, and I kind of just let him have it and just said, you know what, like you're right, and like he has a point and stuff, just because I was too scared about what was going to happen.
I see. So, when you go up to have these conversations, right? Sometimes your partner can get a bit riled up and maybe get a little bit aggressive. And I think when you get put into these situations, you don't really like the tension. You don't really like to have this confrontation.
Yeah.
And so I think you like to take the back foot, and allow your partner to say whatever they want to say and kind of agree with them to kind of diffuse the situation. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Mm.
all right, all right. Well, since this approach really, isn't really working, do you think that there are any other ways that you might be able to, go into this conversation that might, come out with a different result?
Well, like upon reflection, I feel like nothing really got resolved. He didn't really get how I was feeling as well. So if I was to approach him again, really just telling him how I felt and like how his actions has impacted the relationship would be really important. So he understands like the consequences of his actions as well, for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think that's a much better idea, uh, because I'm sure that your partner cares for you just like how you care for him, right? And I think that, when you bring up how his actions are affecting you, I think it will shine a new light on, what he's doing. I'm
Mm,
sure that he doesn't want to see you be hurt. I'm sure he doesn't want to see you feel uncomfortable, right?
yeah.
And so by allowing him to see that his actions are doing that, right? I think it might, change the situation a little bit.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. So I think, maybe when you feel more comfortable, right? I think you should maybe go ahead and try that.
Yeah, for sure. I'll definitely give that a go.
Great, great. Now with everything that's been going on,
Mm.
lately, how do you feel emotionally?
Like obviously I still feel a bit overwhelmed and a bit anxious and distraught, but like I just try to focus not to compare myself with my friends. But with everything happening all at once, right? It's really hard for me to commit myself to my friends. And the last thing I want is like them thinking I'm a bad person, or even my partner thinking I'm not supporting him or loving him, especially after confronting him. So that's definitely what's kept me up as well, yeah, at night.
Yeah, yeah, and I can understand how that could be a very tough situation for you to be in, right? You don't want your friends to feel like you don't actually care for them, that you don't want them to feel like you're a bad person. But I think that it's completely natural to feel overwhelmed with being a busy uni student like yourself, right? With everything that's going on, um, and I think that your friends and your partner want what's best for you, right? They want you to feel okay and comfortable, right?
Mm,
And I think that none of them would think that you're a bad person, right? Because what you're feeling is completely natural, right?
yeah, for
And I think
sure.
that's okay.
Mm.
Now, unfortunately, we've run out of time here for today's session, but um, I want you to please remember what we talked about in terms of the different approaches that you might take when going to the conversations with your partner, and also what we talked about last session with what you might think about and how to think about gaining direction in your own life, right?
Yeah.
Now, I'm sure that there might be some slip ups here and there where you might start to compare yourself again and start to feel a little bit anxious, but that's okay, right? That's totally okay. And next session, we'll start to deal with the mindfulness and the breathing techniques, right? We'll start to dabble in that, and we'll see how that goes. Right? I'll contact you in the next week and see when we can book our next session in, and then I guess we'll go from there. Is that all right?
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you so much, Ray.
Thank you so much, Billy, for coming to today's session. I'll see you next time.
See ya.
Okay, bye bye.